Hi class, hi Mr. Courtney. Who here wants free college? I do, and here's why. But before I get started, I just want to tell you guys that I'm going to be non-biased as possible. I'm just going to only be stating the facts of why I believe free college should be a thing. So let's get started. My first argument was student debt crisis. Approximately every student owed approximately $39,400 in 2017. That was 3 years ago, so the numbers are going up. That's just bad. Approximately 44.2 million Americans hold $1.48 trillion in educational debt. That comes from the Balanced Student Loan Debt Crisis Breakdown. Not much to say on that. That's 1/8 of all Americans owing some sort of money back to the banks or colleges for student debt. Nearly 1/4 of federal borrowers are in default or struggling to stay current on their loans. That comes from F. Dunyan, the student debt crisis. The problems come from high tuition. Tuition nowadays is about $28,000 per year on average. Just 50 years ago in 1970, that number would have been 8,000 when adjusted for inflation. So back in 1970, they were technically paying less than 8,000, but when adjusted for inflation, it comes out to about $8,000 in today's money standard. Some of these problems are high demand and lack of funding. High demand, most employers are asking for some sort of college education, seeing as it has become more common. And lack of funding, state governments are not funding colleges through taxes as much as they should be, making it more expensive for students to go because colleges are like businesses. They need money to run, and when they're not getting the money, they ask for more money for people to attend, and it's just raising prices by a lot. Another reason is the increase in financial help, like scholarships and the FAFSA. Colleges see that more students are getting more money and more help to come to college, so they're upping the prices to be like, hey, we see that you guys are more financially able, so we're gonna up their prices because we can. And that's a problem for colleges. For us, not colleges, they're getting more money. And stagnant wages. While the cost of college has gone up pretty steadily over the past 50 years, wages, on the other hand, have not. Wages have only risen by a few cents probably in the last 50 years, while colleges have definitely risen by over $20,000 in the past 50 years. A counter argument to this would be you can't raise the wages without inflation. And my argument to that is you don't have to raise wages to help eliminate the problem, but instead you can raise in-state taxes to help make college affordability a thing. And it would incentivize in-state college. Like free college could only be eligible for those that live in the same state as the college they want to attend. For those coming out of state, they'd either have to pay the full price tuition to go to the college, or they could hit a certain criteria if the college offers it, like a certain GPA, certain electives, this, that, the other, athletics. Like the college could set the bar, and the student just has to hit the criteria. My second argument is free college opens the door for new possibilities and opportunities for those who cannot afford. That would be those afraid of debt, or those that like don't want to pay all that money even if they can afford it, or those that like are 4.0 students with a million scholarships but still don't hit the threshold to be able to pay for college, and they don't want to take out loans because they know how hard it is to get out of loans. College graduates with a bachelor's degree typically earn 66% more than those with only a high school diploma, and that comes from the U.S. Department of Education. College affordability and completion, ensuring a pathway to opportunities. So 66% more than those with a high school diploma. That is a lot. That is 2/3 more. That is, wow. Free college would also lower financial stress. I know a lot of people stress about college and their debt and just how are they going to afford it and like how it's going to impact them for the next 40 years of their lives. But eliminating that would eliminate a lot of stress. It would cause a more productive workplace because more people wouldn't have to worry about how they're going to afford college. It would eliminate the wealth discrepancy. Like there are the high and low classes, but it would help minimize it a little because people won't be having to pay a lot of money to go to college to help get a job that they want. That would pay 66% more on average than a high school graduate's job. The plan would ideally make higher education more accessible to lower income and minority students. That come from Parker Paulette, the potential costs of a tuition-free college plan. Yeah. Counter argument to this would be you don't have to go to college to get a job you like. And my argument to that is you shouldn't limit the job opportunities to those people who cannot afford college, because just because a college is just because a certain job, is locked behind a certain college, doesn't mean you shouldn't be able to get that job because of the money you have to pay. I feel like everyone should get equal opportunities. Like those that are rich and can go to almost any college they want, but they only have like a 2.0 GPA, so like I guess not every college they want, but or those with the 4.0 GPA, but they come from a low income, like the high income 2.0 GPA would be able to go to any college he wants that he gets accepted to, while the 4.0 could get accepted to Harvard but still couldn't be able to afford it. So I feel like that's not really fair, and the only way to make it fair would be to make college affordable or free. My final argument is free college would benefit the mind and then the body, because student debt can affect stress levels and sleep and lead to depression. That comes from Boston University's POV. Student debt is hurting our wallets and our health. So stress is the mind, and the mind helps the body. Sleep also helps the mind and the body. Without sleep, you can't fully recover. You aren't fully able-minded when you don't get enough sleep, or you're not able-bodied even if you don't get enough sleep, because you'll just be fatigued mentally and physically. The average college student post-graduation owes about $400 a month in student loans. That's 1/5 of a paycheck. That is a lot of money, on average anyways. And in PwC's latest employee financial wellness survey, employees cited money matters, including debt, as the lead cause of stress in their lives more often than other named stressors. That comes from Courts at Work. It's time to talk about the mental health effects of student loan debt. A counter argument is the health and well-being of a college student should not be my responsibility if I'm paying for it. And to that I say, just because it's not your problem doesn't mean it's not our problem. Like I stated earlier, 1/8 of all Americans owe some sort of debt back to college. So that affects us as a community. Just because it doesn't affect you doesn't mean it affects us. I've talked about solutions and their arguments, and now I give you the position to reflect and possibly stand up and possibly fight for free college. College prices will only rise. So fight for our generation. And even if you don't care about our generation, or even if you don't think it will affect our generation, fight for future generations, because it'll affect them. If you want your kids to go to college, it'll affect them. Fight for everyone, even if it doesn't affect you. Because like I stated earlier, just because it's not your problem doesn't mean it's not our problem. Thank you.